going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. And coming up on today's show, we got some big-time news around DeMar DeRozan as he says he would love to stay and play in Chicago with the Bulls. And then on the second half of today's show, we got a Dalton Knecht scouting report as he is one of the top Bulls draft targets at pick 11. We'll be diving into all this and more on today's show. But before we dive into it, I want to make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. We are closing in on 7,000 subs. So first off, shout out to all of you guys who have hit that sub button so far. But if you guys haven't, make sure you guys are subscribed and join our Bulls Report family as we will keep you up to date on the latest around your favorite basketball team. All right, let's dive into it. What did DeMar DeRozan say on his podcast with Shams Charania about returning to Chicago? Well, check this out because it sounds like DeMar wants to remain in the greatest city in the country. So he says, the city is great. I love the city. The organization has been great. It's definitely a place I would love to return, and this is the part I love, and take care of unfinished business. What unfinished business, DeMar DeRozan, are you specifically talking about? Like, you talking about winning the play-in tournament, making the playoffs? Is that the unfinished business for you? Or is this about winning championships? And the thing is with DeMar DeRozan, and he has been an ideal member of the Chicago Bulls during his tenure. He's been a great leader in that locker room. He's been incredibly effective on the team as he's been one of the most clutch players in the NBA over the past couple of seasons. So, listen, I don't have any beef with DeMar DeRozan. I would like to see the Bulls go another direction in terms of bringing him back. I just thought it kind of gave me a chuckle that he said that they have unfinished business here in Chicago. But we did get this report that the Bulls did offer DeMar DeRozan a 2-year, $80 million deal. This was coming after the end of the Bulls season, and I said this was way too much money, $40 million for an aging star in the NBA when you are not close to competing for championships. It just seems like a ludicrous deal in my opinion. And also on that podcast, DeMar DeRozan did mention his possible interest with the Los Angeles Lakers since he is from Compton, California, where he says you can never say no about playing at home. Time will tell. We will see where the cards fall. So it sounds like DeMar would have interest in the Lakers if the Bulls do decide not to bring him back. And I really hope the best for DeMar. Like, if he truly, wants to go play with the Lakers, or if he, doesn't remain with the Bulls, I think the Lakers would be a great option for him as they do need that over-the-top scorer with obviously LeBron and Anthony Davis just being, such great, attackers of the rim. I think they just need a, elite scorer on the outside. And that's what DeMar DeRozan's been over the past 4 seasons. Like, he has been great with the Chicago Bulls. Like, I don't want to kind of discredit what he did, even though I do think the Bulls should move on. But averaging 27 in 2021 when the Bulls were at the top of the Eastern Conference halfway through that season, and even over the past couple years when the Bulls have not been too successful, he has been filling the stat sheet and also being incredibly efficient. But let's go a little deeper on his numbers from last season. His catch-and-shoot three-point percentage definitely took a huge leap this past basketball year, shooting 34.5%. We know he's elite in the mid-range, hence why his pull-up midi percentage is at 46.5%. And then the less than 10 feet, sitting at 58.3, pretty solid as well. But the pull-up three percentage, he only takes about 1 a game, but he did struggle in that department this past year, is only shooting about 30%. But in terms of the contract that the Bulls offered, listen, I'm not saying DeMar doesn't deserve this, because if the Bulls are in a different situation and maybe they're really knocking on that door to compete and win championships, I'd be more okay with giving them $40 million. But with what the Bulls need to do and kind of embrace this youth movement, I don't necessarily think it makes too much sense to be paying a guy that much money. And this is the Bulls' young core that I think, if you had to choose a 5 to build around, these would be my 5. Obviously, Kobe White now, we know what they're all about. But even the wings on the outside, like Patrick Williams, controversial player amongst Bulls, fans and media members, people love him or people hate him. I'm in the camp that I would still give him another chance to develop into that true 3-and-D guy. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, I have became a fan of them over this past year. They both play their ass off. They're always playing at 100%. And I always would love to ride and die with guys like that in comparison, to a guy like Zach LaVine. So overall, I think the Bulls need to start this youth movement. I am just kind of sick of the Bulls being stuck in this NBA purgatory where they're not good enough to compete for championships, also not bad enough to get a top pick in the NBA draft. And with a guy like Cooper Flagg coming out next season, the Bulls will have a chance to get one of those top guys if they make the right moves. But we have gotten reports. Bobby Marks actually came out and said that the Bulls' intention is to compete again, and it just, makes me want to bang my head against the wall hearing that, hearing the word continuity, hearing the phrase that they want to stay competitive. Like, it just really boggles my mind that a team will be so content with just being mediocre. But you guys let me know. Would you re-sign DeMar DeRozan this offseason? Give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass down in the comments section. Controversial topic, but, I would love to see the pulse of the fan base on this one. So give me an S for sign or a P for pass. Now, even though I was saying I would move off DeMar DeRozan, if he's willing to take a pay cut, I would be all in. Like, let's just say he cuts that contract in half and he's making $20 million a year. Like, I would be all in on bringing back DeMar. One, incredibly productive still. He's still a great basketball player, one of the best clutch players we have in the league, and also just being that mentor for younger players on this Bulls roster. DeMar DeRozan's been at the head of the mental health movement in the NBA, which I'm a huge supporter of what he does there, and I think he would really help just having these young guys just continue to develop, and just having that leader in your ear like a DeMar DeRozan could be incredibly, incredibly impactful. But coming up next on the show, we're going to be diving into Dalton Knecht and the scouting report I broke down for the Tennessee forward. We'll get to that here in a second. But first off, guys, got to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use promo code CLNS, we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. And with NBA games getting underway tonight, with the Celtics, Cavs, and the Mavericks, Thunder, I got a lineup for you guys that you guys could either ride with or fade tonight. I'm taking the more on P.J. Washington, points, rebounds, and assists. He's been killing it for the Mavericks. I'm going to ride the hot hand in Max Strus, more than 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Then we're going to fade Drew Holiday after he just had a big game in Game 4 and take his less on 13.5 points. But, hey, if you guys want to fade those picks or ride with those picks, just do it at Prize Picks. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. And if you guys use promo code CLNS, we will match your first deposit into your account up to $100. Prize Picks is one of my favorite apps I have on my phone. Just adds that much more juice to your viewing experience. Trust me, you guys won't want to miss out. Download the app today. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, let's get into our deep dive on Dalton Knecht here, as I think he is one of the top Bulls draft targets that could be the pick at number 11 for Chicago. We can start off by looking at his stats from this past season, as he really hit the scene strong here for the Tennessee Volunteers. He is 23 years old, so he was at some sort of advantage playing against these college kids, but he was damn near fantastic this past season, averaging 21.7 points per game, just a true scorer at all three levels. 4.8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and the efficiency is incredible for Knecht, shooting almost 40% from downtown and 45.8% from the field. And when I watch his game, like, he is just a professional scorer. Like, the way he moves, everything is calculated. He has no wasted dribbles. He loves getting to the one dribble pull-up. And actually at the scouting combine, he was fantastic, I will say. Fantastic in the dribble pull-up section of it. So, he's got a really long wingspan as well. I'd be all in. But more on the scouting report for Knecht. So he is 6'6", 204 pounds. He'll probably be more of a two guard in the league. He could play some three since his wingspan is 6'9", sneaky long arms on the Tennessee forward, which I think could help him, obviously, help him defend a little better at the next level, even though he is not the best defender. But, I think his size is pretty solid to be a wing here in the NBA. And my pro comp, again, I hate whenever there's a white guy coming out in college hoops. You just compare him to a white guy in the league. But, like, his game really does remind me of Gordon Hayward. And it's not that true, spot-up shooter type of game. It's that I'm going to get to my spot. I'm going to rise up and hit jump shots. Also, Gordon Hayward, when he was coming out of Butler, same with Knecht, very underrated athletes. It can really put some pressure on the rim. So I really like my comp I have for him of Gordon Hayward. Again, kind of chalk since they're both white guys. But, when I watch him play, that's the game I see. And my #1 strength for him, he's an elite shooter, shooting almost 40% from downtown, always efficient in the dribble pull-up game. Like, he can get it done from all three levels. Now, a weakness for him is his defense. He wasn't terrible this past season at Tennessee guarding on the outside, but also when you consider that he's going to be going up against, NBA level competition, I could seriously see him struggling. So in spot-up possessions, this is when he is rotating on defense, the opposing offensive player catches the ball, and he is the one closing out. He actually ranked in the 90th percentile, so that was fantastic. And when he's guarding a pick-and-roll ball handler, when he's getting screened, he ranked in the 74th percentile. But this is where he struggled a little bit. In ISO situations, he was in the 65th percentile, and obviously with the skill jump going to the NBA and just the overall athletes they have over there, I could see him getting picked on in isolation. But maybe he can improve in it. Maybe he can improve his athleticism, and you obviously improve his defense. But he wasn't as bad as I think people are making it out to be on the defensive side of the floor. But he was at the Combine this week in Chicago, and actually had a pretty good day there. So his lane agility time was 10.56 seconds, shuttle run at 2.79, which is really, really solid. Three-quarter sprint at 3 seconds. That was fantastic. The vert was only at 31 inches. I thought this would have been way higher just when I've been watching his tape and watching his game at Tennessee. Like, he's kind of a high flyer a little bit, the way he puts pressure on the rim. So I was a little shocked that this was only at 31 inches. I thought it would have been around like 35, 36 inches. But these were his Combine results. Pretty solid across the board. And overall, I'm just becoming a big fan of the Tennessee forwards game. But, hey, you guys let me know down below in the comment section. Who is your pro comp for Dalton Knecht? I said mine was Gordon Hayward. I want you guys to let me know yours down below. And as always, guys, make sure you are subscribed here to the Bulls Report. We'll be keeping you posted with the latest around your favorite basketball team throughout the offseason and during the season. So hit that sub button, lock us in, and as always, go Bulls.